think of the full picture, how it happened and whatnot. I was going to celebrate today saying that we have finished the fundamentals and now we get into application, right? But I'll wrap it up in a different way, because after every difficulty, Allah promised that there will be ease. So I have to talk about the difficulty, and we have to find a way forward. Next week we'll talk about akhlaq. What does akhlaq mean to you? Mulvi Sahib. What does akhlaq mean to you?
Akhlaq?
Yeah. See, he has good akhlaq.
The shade Allah Ta'ala said to Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, إِنَّكَ لَعَلَىٰ خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ.
Yes.
So we will get akhlaq from whatever the Prophet did.
He's the model.
Also there's, I think, hadith. Someone asked from Aisha radiallahu anha, or how was the akhlaq, or how was the behavior of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Kana khuluquhu Quran. It means his akhlaq was Quran.
Yes, exactly. He was the living Quran. So beautiful. See, scientifically, the meaning of akhlaq is the one that the manufacturer's description. Manufacturer gives it the detail, right? It's the manufacturer's description. This product does this, right? So Allah is the manufacturer, and Allah has given us the details. Thank you so much. Thanks. Allah has given the detail in Quran how He created us. He's the manufacturer, right? It's not enough. He also has given a model. See, when it's called, it's 10 kilometers long. What is the model for the kilometer? It's sitting in Paris. Platinum or something rod, sitting in Paris. That's our model. So if there is a dispute, you go to the model. This is the length. Did you know that? Meter is, model is in Paris.
So, Esa is maximize the slide.
We have to read Quran. Have you ever seen any scientific course where we start with Quran? Have you?
Some teachers just recite Durud, and that's it.
That's to begin. Of course, that's another important sunnah, right?
We had this kind of courses, but not relevant to the topics. Just
I'm talking about scientific course.
Yes.
Yes.
Just for the beginning of the
barakah.
course.
Oh, for barakah. It's not for.
barakah.
It's not. They do not discuss that first.
No.
It's not.
As you link them.
It's not linked to the topic.
No, yes.
It's not linked to the topic.
Yeah.
As you do.
Yeah.
Just for the barakah.
Yes, yes.
for the way to-
Blessing.
It's part of dua, basically. Okay. I thought that was one unique aspect. This is something that I thought about and I introduced. First time formally introduced is here. Anyway, we'll recite today 169 to 171, Surah Baqarah.
169.
سورة البقرة يوصل الناس يوصلوا نشبته.
Innama Amirkum.
Surah Al-Baqarah?
Yes, 169 to 171.
Yeah.
Shall we start, sir?
Yes, please.
يوصلوا نشبة تيمون.
No, يوصلون
إنما.
نعم.
بس نشبت.
إنما.
Yeah, in the name of يا أيها الذين
إنما يأمركم
هو الذي لا
169 إنما يأمركم بالسوء. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنما يأمركم بالسوء والفحشاء وأن تقولوا على الله ما لا تعلمون. وإذا قيل لهم اتبعوا ما أنزل الله قالوا بل نتبع ما ألفينا عليه آباءنا أولو كان آباؤهم لا يعقلون شيئا ولا يهتدون. ومثل الذين كفروا كمثل الذي ينعق بما لا يسمع إلا دعاء ونداء صم بكم عمي فهم لا يعقلون.
That's it. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. He just recited 169 to 171. 169, by the way, comes after Allah is giving order to eat halal from earth, halal and tayyib. And Allah is saying that do not follow the footsteps of Shaitan. That's 168. Right after that, Allah is talking about how Shaitan operates. We are still in 4:119, remember? How Shaitan operates. Shaitan orders you. It's not whisper, orders you. Because now, after doing dalala, Shaitan is in full control. After you have become dallin, you obey Shaitan. That's why dallin starts with, remember, starts with good intention. But once he became dalala, now it's fully subject. He doesn't check. Why am I doing this? So what Shaitan does, orders you. Evil and immorality. Quran gives you the moral compass, or Shaitan orders you exactly opposite. And we are talking about the word akhlaq. We are created with akhlaq. Our model is Prophet, but Shaitan orders you to violate that. And now we are listening to Shaitan. And what do they say? What do they say? They say things that on Allah. How often we have discussed? Do not say things that Islam says this, Allah says this. No, give evidence. If not, it's coming from Shaitan. So do not talk about Allah that you do not know. Quite often it is very common in internet. All the sheikhs are talking about Allah's intention was this. How do you know? They talk about Allah's intention. Allah doesn't have any intention. He doesn't make any intention. Because whatever he does is done. He doesn't have to do. Yeah, that's it. But they are lying on Allah, talking about Allah's intention. So Allah meant hijab to be this, but now time has changed, therefore it is applicable. It was difficult time. They did not have water, that's why you have to preserve water. Now, mashallah, we have a lot of water. Who told you? You see, this is the point. They lie on Allah and freely. And nobody recognizes that you're doing that because shaitan has ordered you. It's very meaningful. Then when they are told, follow what Allah is, everybody says, we're a follower of Prophet Muhammad, right? Not a problem. But Allah is saying, when I ask them to follow, they say, but. The moment you hear but, you're finding excuse. But we follow our forefathers. People have done it. It's very common. But I've seen my father do this. My uncle was doing this. Very, very common. And that's why I kept saying that every culture is evil. Only culture that's acceptable is culture of Prophet Ibrahim. And sure enough, we don't need to know what his culture was, it's Islam. But our forefathers have done it. We have been doing it. Therefore, very common one, Shab-e Barat. People forgot. Shab-e Barat is a total invention. But everybody does it because who told you? It's my parents. What did they learn from? Their parents. We have to be able to stop that cycle. So no, I'm not going to do it because my parents did it. Allah is saying, very logical thing, what? Even though they did not use akal. If they used akal, you don't have to say, I follow. You know the definition of akal, right? If they used akal, then you don't have to say, but I follow my forefathers. You say, of course I follow. Samayna, atayna. But you say, but means you want to follow somebody, but certainly you have to do that because that person that you want to follow did not have use akal. The word akal is important here. What happens if you don't use akal? You are not even a human, according to Allah. 8:22. Same thing. The condition to be human is 8:22, use akal. That's what separates us from everybody else. And if we do not use akal deliberately, we're worse than any other creature. So, and they were not guided. And it's completely necessary. If you do not use akal, no way you will be guided. Then, their example is like the one shouts out at what they hear, like the calls and cries of cattle, sheep, and Allah is calling them dumb, deaf, and blind. And they do not use akal. This dumb, deaf, and blind is extremely important. We always hear that it doesn't matter what you do, they are not going to have iman. They are not going to follow because they are like this. They would not turn their heart. They are incapable. This is the status of Maghzub. That's why Allah repeatedly cursed them. That's why we seek protection from Maghzub. Right? In Surah Fatiha. Right? We don't want to be like Maghzub and Dalin. Again, what's coming here? And they do not use akal. Today I was going to present to you that we have finished the fundamental part. From Monday or from Saturday, we start application. The application you're interested in is yours. But we talk about example. First thing we wanted to discuss is economics, because economics is the driver. How Shaitan has messed up our economics process, from Quran to whatever Shaitan is doing now. But that application would start Saturday. But something came up, and I feel that we should discuss, renew the vision that I have been trying to share with you. It's not time to celebrate. It's time to refresh and say, this is, if you're not aware, remember all the hadiths we discussed, Shaitan will penetrate and blow it up. I told you 2 days ago, Shaitan is very angry. Very angry. Because this line of discussion did not take place in last 1400 years. You cannot say one scholar held this type of discussion, where Islam is connected with science. You do not have example of Ibn Sina, Ibn Rushd, Ibn Khaldun, Ibn Haytham, all the top scholars. You do not have example from Abu Hanifa, Malik, Shafi. Do not have. So this discussion we are having is unique as Afghanistan. We do not have Khulafa Rashidin for 1400 years. It's no exaggeration. And the program I'm discussing, the thing that we're discussing, exactly the same. Has not happened. So we'll summarize one more time and give you the enough information so you're confident that this is your mission. Don't be shy, because you have taken up the responsibility as a Khalifa and as a member of a research group of what? First Rashidun Caliphate after Rashidun Caliphate. It's a heavy duty. So don't be shy, be aware, and have the confidence that you can do it. And if you do not do it, who will? Think about it, who will? Who will reverse? So respect belongs to Allah. We all know that. And He's the epitome of respect. Then Prophet Muhammad, then the most righteous slaves. Allah is 100% logical. You have a question? No? No, okay. Allah is 100% logical. Who is 100% illogical? Shaitan. And Shaitan, people don't think about it. When Shaitan was angry at Allah for ordering him to sujood to Adam, even before that, when he saw Adam being the Khalifa, and he challenged. Wasn't that a sign of disrespect? He has no confidence in Allah. Do you understand that?
Yes.
If he had any respect for him, he would say, of course he decided. He's the one who decides everything. Who am I to challenge it? I might not like it. Then I ask for clarification. That's fine. But I cannot say that you have zulum me, you have oppressed me. Can you imagine? He's calling Allah oppressor. So that's the mindset we're talking about. Completely opposite to respect. So Shaitan has zero respect for Allah. Everything else is cursory. After that, Shaitan hates humans. Why? Because we are the Khalifa. He completely hates us. Particularly who? The most righteous. We also discussed 2 days ago, Shaitan has a partner. It's the Bani Israel group. What are they? Maghzub and Dallin. Dallin is
Nasara.
yeah, at that time, Bani Israel. But I'm talking about Dallin is the first stage. But every Dallin becomes a Maghzub at the end. Because he becomes consolidated. He starts to have so much faith in his Dalala that he starts to become a full-time slave of Shaitan. That's when Shaitan, 169, that's when Shaitan is allowed to order him. He doesn't say, who are you to tell me this? How come you're ordering me? I'm not going to accept. So Dallin is not a big price, but they have, we know from history, we also know from Quran, they have a softer heart. Maghdub has no heart at all. They're hardcore. A good example is, as a person, Karun. Karun belonged to Bani Israel. His cousin, wasn't it? Musa.
Yeah.
Yet he concocted the most vile. Even Pharaoh could not catch him like that. Most vile plan against Musa. Do you remember this story? And that's how Musa ended up cursing him. Prophets do not curse very easily. They all have very good heart. In a way, it's a weakness. At the end, he could not take it anymore. And of course, he was destroyed. Yet, what is it? What is so illogical that Musa was saying? Why was he so angry at Musa? You see, Maghzub and Dallin did not think they take order from him. They are naturally, after they decided that I'm going to obey Shaitan, there is no logic. Yet Egyptians were dying who converted to Islam, and they were being killed. And Karun is the one planning to support Pharaoh, and he's planning against Musa. Bani Qurayza, that's the classic one. Do you know how many was killed by Prophet Sallallahu But 700 to 900, yeah? It's the ultimate. It's the same. It's the person, Karun, and Bani Qurayza is the group, Maghzub. Few weeks ago maybe, I asked you, who are today's Maghzub and Dallin? And when we recited Surah Baqarah 84 to 86, we saw tremendous similarity with what is going on in the world today. And sure enough, there's a hadith from Prophet Muhammad that will follow Bani Israel's footstep by footstep, lizard hole to lizard hole. That's what you see. And he said 72 out of 73 would belong to the bad group. That's what, 2%? 2% good guys. Very difficult. Shaitan wants control. The moment Shaitan sees that somebody else is controlling the narrative, he goes crazy. And I mentioned that 2 days ago. This class is a very major headache for Shaitan. Very major headache. He's going wild. This is crazy. Who brought this guy? How dare he change everything? How dare he tell all the white people? It's not enough. He's even saying that this whole sectarian feeling, they're wrong. Get him out. Because then he can control the narrative. See, true, Shaitan is looking for control. Allah controls everything, we know that, but Shaitan wants the control for himself. Why? Because he can enforce his dalal. You don't even have a choice. Today, all leaders, all Muslim leaders are like this. You have seen the picture of King of Jordan. He's like this. It's like a kid who has been eating too much chocolate, and you say, shut up, do not eat anymore. He's like that. He doesn't like it, but he has complete silence. That's the status. Shaitan loves that. Shaitan loves to inject fear. Because if they're fearful, they cannot function. You know that. If you are scared, you freeze. And that's the time all the whispers come in. And you believe everything Shaitan tells him. And you have seen this picture? This is how Shaitan operates. Allah is the epitome of love. Allah wants us to wake up loving Allah, being thankful that I have such a Lord. First thing we say, Alhamdulillah. We give him credit for everything. What Shaitan does, he wants us to wake up with fear. What am I going to do today? What will happen to my money? What will happen to my class? You see that one? Oh, people are complaining, maybe this class will not continue. That's what Shaitan wants. And once you submit to that, once you say, okay, I'll go slow, because something might happen to me, then you're gone. You're gone completely. You cannot go back. All the hasana we gain after this class, if I wake up in the morning saying that I have to change because people are getting angry at me. Who is my ilah? It's not Allah. Shaitan is the ilah. That's what Shaitan loves. And it's well recognized. Then Shaitan will call you Dallin. Remember in Surah Mutaffifin? When they see them, they call them Dallin. And they are Inna. Righteous one, Musa, Prophet Muhammad, they become Dallin according to them. That was Bani Israel. And that justifies why Karun was so bad with Prophet Musa. So that I would talk about renew our vision, a word about me and my mission in Islamic Emirates. I want it to be very clear. I told in the first day, I'll talk about Quran, I'll talk about Hadith, and I'll talk about my own personal experience. Because that's the only fact I know for sure. Isn't it true? Remember, if you were in the class, you knew these are the only three things I promised. So how do you think I would feel if somebody said, you cannot talk about Quran, you cannot talk about Hadith, you certainly cannot talk about your experience. So what am I supposed to talk about? None of them. Anything else? I have no idea. So literally, remember Shaitan's plan? Literally, Shaitan wants you to submit. Give him the control and tell whatever he's ordering you to say. But we are not going to give up to Shaitan. That's why I would make it very transparent, very clear. This is my mission in Afghanistan. After publishing 400 papers, and when I became the most published petroleum engineer professor in the world, in 2003, I realized that every technology is unsustainable. Every technology, no exception. Because everybody knows. Because it's based on science with dollar sign. It's a fake science. It's a science cult of Shaitan, of the money god. West recognizes this. Everybody knows. We quoted Nobel laureates. This is a technological disaster. But they do not recognize why. I was the first guy. You write it down. I was the first guy who said, because it's not based on real science. Write it down. If anybody else says that, no, they didn't. I'm the first guy who said, because it's based on false science. How do you know false? We had discussed what is false and what is true, because their first premises were false, as illogical. It doesn't exist in nature. All of them, no exception. You have a question? No. So that was the fundamental difference between me and all the experts in the West. They all agree that West technologies are mess. It's not sustainable. Go to UN website, first thing they say, sustainable technology, because that's the biggest crisis. But what is the second biggest crisis? Human being. We have too many humans. You see the point? Completely upside down. Yet we see UN vehicles here helping Afghanistan. This line is not just a fanciful line. Literally not a single question of sustainability can be answered by science. Not one. You can ask them how come this one is harmful, other light is not harmful, beneficial. Can I answer? No. There is no science behind it. They cannot answer. How do I get cancer? Nobody knows. How do I get Alzheimer? Nobody knows. You can Google, say the origin is not known. They call cancer a lifestyle. But what lifestyle? Because you are giving, logically it's from chemicals, but you are giving chemotherapy to cure them. There is no logic. Not a single question, you can write this down, not a single question is answered logically by Western dollar sign science. Not one. And that's why I write in every book, you can check that out, that Western science, this new science, cannot answer a single question. I also say, I answer every question logically. Until today, I have not come across a question that I cannot answer logically. And that's why my books sell. $350 each. Published from the US, yes.
Mr. Professor, when the Western science cannot answer those questions, who can answer those
I can.
questions?
I just told you. That's the whole purpose of writing 40. Who writes 40 books?
Actually, he is new to class, so
New
to class.
he missed those lectures
Yeah.
which were discussed.
Welcome. You can review the slides. You can also listen to the. Who is Tassel?
Tasal.
He went here
Okay.
to work.
Tassel has the recording. You have to see this because this is the whole purpose. If they are okay, I would not be talking this. I would not be writing any book because I do not write book for money. As a matter of fact, I say that if we have to count how much money I made, it's like 25 cents per an hour because it takes so much effort and its royalty is so little. Because the price is so high, only rich people can afford. So, by contrast, my books leave not a single question unanswered, not one. Not a single question that's misspelled. Just check the opening section of each book. I make it explicit. So everybody can see it. They can challenge me if they want. So this is what happened. We talked about honey, sugar, saccharin, aspartame degradation, right? That's this part. Western science, Western technology, after Newton, they are all traveling this way. It became progressively more unsustainable. Yesterday somebody was bragging about the egg. That egg it's a nuclear egg. That guy opens a wrap and talks about nuclear egg that will provide energy to this house for 10 years. He's so proud. And everybody is clapping, mashallah. Nobody thinks this is the way. I saw it right away. I said, subhanallah, it's going worse than aspartame. Logically, you can show that very easily. But people like fanciful things. It's an aid that provides, they like to believe in magic. So this is the path we have traveled. Why? Because it's based on science. Technology is based on, every technology is based on science. That science is faulty. So I cannot talk about technology unless I talk about science. I cannot talk about sustainable technology unless I talk about real science. What is real science? Anybody volunteer? What is real science?
That is from
Quran
history
and
and Quran.
Hadith.
Yes. What is in Arabic real science? Science is the third most used word in Quran, over 800 times. Ilm. It's ilm that Adam first got from Allah. Right after declaring Allah in 230, Allah declared that I'm going to place a Khalifa on earth. 231, Allah taught him. Allah gave him ilm directly. That's our first characteristic as a human. That science is not talked about last 300 years. So you want me to talk about science? This science? Astaghfirullah. Shame on you. I did not travel 10,000 miles to talk about shaitan and how I'm obeying shaitan. How shameful is that? What I talk about, and from the beginning, did I ever make any excuse? Did I ever say that any hesitation? What am I going to talk about? I said, I'll talk about Quran, I'll talk about Hadith, I'll talk about my own personal experience. Why is it personal experience important? Because I'm the most published engineer in the world. Don't you want to know how I got it there? That's all.
Why not?
I did not say I'll promote this technology, that technology. I did not say I'll promote Newton, Einstein, all this. I promised you nothing. Only thing I told you, Quran, Hadith, and my own personal experience. Have I deviated from that? Only time I talk about others, to criticize. That's why every class we start with Quran. And it's a relevant verse, not just random for barakah. Relevant verse. Unsustainable technologies are based on dollar sign science, or the science of money god. And it all follows, all of them follow Shaitan's pathway, 4:119. Mark that down for you too. 4:119. Shaitan promised. He said, I'm going to cause dalala first. Dalala. Deviation in their mind. So they cannot see path. And sure enough, after dalala, he talks about inspiring lust, money, sex, and control. So we're talking about dalala, dalin first, maghzub the next. They know. And that's the topic that we are covering today. The world needs intellectual revolution. I did not hide it. True revolution needs visionaries. Revolution cannot take place. French Revolution was not a revolution. Bolshevik Revolution was not a revolution because they had no visionary. There was nobody inspired by Islam. So that was fake revolution. Real revolution is real Muslims. Who are they? They have knowledge of the truth. This is the definition of true alim. This is the classic definition of educated. Who was the greatest alim of all time? Prophet Muhammad. We need them back to change the course of the world. The world is sinking, as you know, sinking in fear of shaitan. How do we revert it? We need intellectual revolution. This is the word. I always say intellectual revolution is a lot harder than physical revolution. What is the problem of our education system? Compartmentalization. You know, literally, if I ask you a question, for instance, now, is it halal? Okay, I'm asking in scientific halal. Is it halal to wear my jacket if I have cleaned with? I want to pray, offer salah, and is it halal for me to wear this jacket knowing that it has been cleaned with carbon tetrachloride? Okay? See, you are a mufti. What will you say?
Actually, I don't know the combination of that
Liquid.
comes with it. Yeah,
Dry cleaning use carbon tetrachloride,
Yeah.
which is a very bad poison. Yes,
The Mufti will try to understand, Dr. Sahab,
yes,
what is the carbon
yes,
tetrachloride or fluoride,
Yes.
and what are the properties of it, and if it falls under impurity or not. So he
exactly.
will first try to understand this.
So first thing he has to do
Yeah.
is understand science.
Ah,
Where will you get that knowledge?
ah.
As I quoted a Bosnian scholar, Alim, he said, is it halal to do vaccine? He said, why are you asking me? I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
That's what I mean compartmentalization. Do you understand? We need knowledge of everything. In old time, that was the term used. Polymath. Check that out. Polymath. Ibn Sina was, they could be judge. They could lead the prayer. They all studied Quran and Hadith. Ibn Rushd was a judge. The mathematician, Al-Khawarij.
Khwarazmi.
Yes.
Al-Khwarazmi.
The
Muhammad
biologist,
Musa.
the medical guy, he was a judge also. So we used to have knowledge of everything, but we have compartmentalized. Say, you go for Hafiziyya Madrasa, you go for computer science, you go for medicine, and if you ask the medicine guy, say, brother, I'm not an expert of eye. That's another one. You see the problem? In US, the judge, Supreme Court judge asked, what is a woman? He said, I'm not a biologist. Supreme Court judge could not answer the simple question, what is a woman? This is the status. And sure enough, Trump with one signature said, forget everything, man or woman. That's the only one. And if you are born with a private part, you are man. And if you are born with some other private part, you are a woman. It was Trump who had to lecture them in one signature. And what are you doing, Muslims? We're waiting for them to solve our problem. So this is a very big problem. So what I offered to do, I realized that you have to learn real ill. It doesn't matter what it involves. It could be medicine, it could be agriculture, politics, same. It's the same science.
But what Islam does Islam accept transgender? You know, there are so many genders, but I'm talking about which how the private parts different than man and woman.
But Joe Biden's time they had 73, just like firqa, there's 73 firqas.
Yeah,
Right?
I'm not talking.
He had 73 of them.
But in India, you know, you have the transgender. You have the transgender.
Yes, I know.
With personal, private parts different than man
I know,
and woman.
it's not that only.
But
Private
it's
part
exception.
was Trump's idea. You have ovary or not. Okay? The one with ovary is with Rama, Ram is a woman.
Ah,
You can be pregnant or not, that's a different issue.
yeah.
And if you don't have, then you're a man.
Yeah, I read something that if the similarities of match with women, then that should be considered as woman.
Yes, but
as a
you know,
man.
literally it's really funny, but it's a very hot topic. People are protesting now in the US because he did that. They're protesting for 73 genders. One guy is crying. He said, look at me, because he became a woman and he has boobs and everything, and he's taking picture. Said, look at my passport. It said male. Do I look like a male? He's crying. He's praying, and millions of likes. Only X you can see. So this has, our education system has become a joke. And this is what Shaitan did. It's coming from Shaitan. It's from Dalala. 4119. Again, it caused Dalala in everything, every sector. This is what happened with Quran, with education system. Real education system is Quran, Hadith as the source. Question and answer is the process. You remember the cure to ignorance is ask question. That was Prophet's process. Do you remember that? Quran, Hadith is the source. Asking question is the methodology. That was real education. That was the honey. When it becomes sugar, we gave the example of Carnine University. Remember in Fez, first university created by a woman. Do you not know this history?
Yes, you told us.
Yes. First university, what are the teaching? Quran and Hadith, fine. What is the process? Maliki Madhab. Boom, that became sugar. Honey is no longer honey, it becomes sugar. Why? Look at Quranic verses. 659, you can write it down. 549, 465. You cannot do that. You will not be guided. Once you started madhab, doesn't matter who is madhab, because Maliki people love it. And Hanafi said, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, they should have done Hanafi. But that's not the point. The point is, now we're dealing with sugar. It's no longer honey. Dalala's first stage. Dalala becomes Magzub when third phase, they replace Bible with the Quran, Hadith replaced by Bible.